Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Several centers are being linked to the Lakers to fill the center spot, and a great option is being suggested for a player who has a viable price and is doing great and could help the Lakers a lot, which is the big man Naz Reid. The perfect replacement for Jackson Hayes is expected to hit free agency, but shouldn't consume Rob Pelinka this offseason. The Los Angeles Lakers offseason began a few weeks earlier than they had hoped, but the mission is clear: build a contender around LeBron James for one final title run. After finishing the regular season at 50-32, much of the Lakers' success was tied to one of the boldest midseason moves in recent memory, acquiring Luka Doncic. Dubbed by many as the heist of the century, Rob Pelinka's front office made an aggressive push before the February 6 trade deadline to bolster the roster further. In an attempt to patch the void left by Anthony Davis in the frontcourt, the Lakers swung a deal for Charlotte Hornets big man Mark Williams. Then, chaos. After Williams failed his physical, the deal collapsed, leaving rookie Dalton Knecht in limbo and forcing the Lakers to ride the rest of the season with Jackson Hayes. While serviceable, Hayes fell out of head coach J.J. Redick's rotation once the playoffs began, appearing in just 4 postseason games and logging fewer than 10 minutes in each. The Lakers' offseason agenda: find a starting center. The Lakers' offseason goal couldn't be clearer: acquire a starting caliber center. Among the most coveted names in free agency is Naz Reid, fresh off winning the 2024 Sixth Man of the Year award. Reid averaged 14.2 points and 6.0 rebounds over 80 regular season games for Minnesota, primarily coming off the bench. He's expected to opt out of his $15 million contract and test the open market, likely seeking a deal north of $20 million annually. Cap crunch realities. The good news for Lakers fans: Minnesota is just $12.8 million under the second apron, making it tough to retain Reid without shedding salary. If the Timberwolves don't act quickly, Reid could walk before they have the chance to re-sign him. The bad news: the Lakers are in a similarly tight spot. They're working with just $16.2 million in space before hitting the second apron. Despite the allure of teaming up with two generational talents in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it would be unrealistic to expect Reid to leave for just a marginal bump, $1.2 million over his current contract, especially to join a team that can't guarantee him a starting role or long-term stability. The path to flexibility. Still, the idea isn't entirely off the table. The Lakers could free up space by moving on from Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber, who are set to make a combined $22 million next season, despite having minimal impact in the playoffs. If Pelinka can find takers for their contracts, even if it means attaching second-round draft picks, acquiring a player like Reid becomes much more feasible. LeBron first, then the frontcourt. LeBron James opting into his player option should be the Lakers' top priority this offseason. But once that's secured, finding reliable, and affordable, big men to solidify the rotation should follow closely behind. Naz Reid may be a long shot, but with the right moves, the Lakers can still position themselves for one final deep playoff push, and give LeBron the supporting cast he deserves. Which Lakers are eligible for contract extensions this offseason? The Los Angeles Lakers have some interesting decisions ahead this offseason after a disappointing early exit from the playoffs. They lost in 5 games in the first round to the Minnesota Timberwolves, exposing some major weaknesses in their roster construction. They need to make some large changes this offseason, including the addition of a center and some more defensive depth. Those will be the decisions that get the most attention in the offseason. But the Lakers and general manager Rob Pelinka have to make some choices regarding players on the roster and under contract for next season. The Lakers have 6 players that are extension eligible, each at their own amounts and on their own dates. Below, we break down all of the extension decisions that need to be made this offseason and whether or not a deal seems likely. Lakers players eligible for extensions. Luka Doncic. By far the biggest extension talks the Lakers are going to have this summer are with their new cornerstone in Doncic. LA acquired Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks in one of the most shocking trades in NBA history just before the trade deadline, resetting the franchise for years to come with one of the best players in the world at just 26 years old. His commitment to the Lakers long-term has been oft discussed, and on August 2 he becomes extension eligible. It's unclear if he would sign a full 4-year, $228 million max deal, or if he'll do a 3-year version to hit free agency at 10 seasons. But all indications seem to be pointing towards a deal this summer, and the Lakers will be willing to offer him whatever contract he wants. Austin Reaves. Reaves took the leap from high-level role player to a legitimate third star in 2024-25. He struggled in the playoffs, in part due to a foot injury, but no one can argue his ability and importance to the Lakers moving forward. He can sign a 4-year extension worth $89.2 million starting July 6, but is considered far less likely to do so than Doncic. Reaves can simply play one more year on the 4-year, $54 million deal he signed with LA in 2023, then decline his player option and hit free agency next summer, when he would be eligible for a full maximum contract. It remains to be seen if he would actually earn that figure, but his next contract is almost certainly going to be higher than $89.2 million over 4 years. Should he decline the extension, the Lakers can also weigh if trading him is the best overall option. Rui Hachimura. Hachimura took a bit of a leap of his own this season, becoming a more consistent three-point shooter and showing small improvements on the defensive end. He was vital to the Lakers' game plan as one of the 5 players in their best and most used lineup after the Doncic trade. Hachimura has 1 year worth $18.3 million left on his contract before hitting unrestricted free agency, but the Lakers, starting July 6, have the ability to extend him to a deal based on a slight raise of that figure. At 27 years old, Hachimura may want to wait to hit free agency to potentially secure a larger deal, especially with cap space being more abundant next offseason. But if he wants long-term security now and likes playing for the Lakers, the extension may be an option, if the organization is also interested, of course. Maxi Kleber. The Lakers acquired Kleber alongside Doncic in February's blockbuster trade, but he was injured and did not make his debut for the team until their last game of the season against the Timberwolves. Kleber has 1 year and $11 million remaining on his contract, meaning he can sign an extension based on that. But given that he has played 1 game and may not serve a huge function on the Lakers moving forward, an extension being offered is highly unlikely. The Lakers may seek to use Kleber's contract as a trade piece, or give him some time next season to see how he fits within the roster after the offseason. Gabe Vincent. After missing most of 2023-24 with an injury and struggling to start the 2024-25 season, Luka Doncic reveals pros and cons of Los Angeles. Luka Doncic's life turned upside down this past season when he was unexpectedly traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Los Angeles Lakers. Players of Doncic's caliber don't typically get traded without requesting it, much less in the middle of a season. Making the trade even more tough to process for the Slovenian star was that he had just closed on a new house in Dallas that he expected to be his forever home, which made sense considering he had just led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals a year prior. The NBA is a business though, and Doncic found that out the hard way. But ultimately, that trade may have been the best thing for his career as he now gets to play for one of the most historic franchises in sports in one of the biggest cities and markets in the world. Doncic did not get much time to adjust after the trade, but on the most recent episode of the Mind the Game podcast with LeBron James and Steve Nash, he discussed what he likes and dislikes about his new city so far. Well, first of all, this is the first city I've played in that has an ocean, and I really like the ocean. First thing, after a couple days, that was the first thing on my mind, you know. It's a lot. I like it very much. The only thing is the traffic. One other aspect of playing for the Lakers in LA is that Doncic will always have celebrities at his games. That is not something he expects to affect him though. No, not really. But every game, there's famous people watching our game sitting courtside. That's amazing to see. But not really, not that much. Playing in Los Angeles will certainly have long-term benefits for Doncic both on and off the court. Once the initial shock of the trade wore off, he seemed to be enjoying his new team and teammates. They obviously had a tough end to the season, but the hope is that with a full offseason to get acclimated, Doncic and the Lakers will be back in championship contention in 2025-26. Luka Doncic enjoyed playing with LeBron James. Getting traded to the Lakers allowed Luka Doncic to team up with LeBron James, a player he grew up studying and idolizing. While they only played together for a couple of months, Doncic spoke about how much he enjoyed it and what he learned from the 40-year-old. After arriving in Los Angeles, Luka Doncic showed how great he could be with the Lakers, but also that there is much more work to do. Welcome to our annual Lakers Season in Review series, where we'll look back at each player on the team's roster this season and evaluate if they should be part of the future of the franchise. Today, we finish our look at the players with Luka Doncic. In what was probably the most disruptive year of his life and surely the most of his NBA career, Luka Doncic began the 2024-25 season looking to rebound from an NBA Finals defeat and take his Mavericks one step further to hang a banner for the organization that drafted him to being traded in the middle of the night to the Lakers in a monumental swap. It was the type of trade people didn't believe in the moment and could still barely grasp weeks later, with every picture or clip of Luka in a Lakers uniform still feeling like the Photoshop fantasies of a fanbase whose penchant for placing opposing team stars into those form blue and gold jerseys is unrivaled across the entire league. And if the trade wasn't enough, Doncic lost over 6 weeks, 22 games total, to a strained calf suffered on Christmas Day, the longest injury absence of his career, leaving him sidelined not only for the final weeks he'd have been able to play with the Mavs but his first week with the Lakers. This all came also while dealing with the very public, but somehow still very anonymous, bashing on his way out of Dallas, questioning his conditioning and commitment to his body as the reasons for shipping him out. When he finally did return, he was clearly not himself physically and was obviously still dealing with the mental effects of a life-altering trade. Through it all, as has been the case for his entire career, Luka wore his heart on his sleeve, showing everyone when he was happy, frustrated, or still a bit solemn after the deal as he worked his way back into shape, both mentally and physically, to the point where he began to resemble the player that had been named to first-team All-NBA the previous 5 seasons. Of course, as this all happened, he came to a team that was trying to rework their identity on the fly to account for Doncic joining a team with 2 other primary ball handlers who just happened to be one of the best players ever in LeBron James and a rising Austin Reeves, whose own growth and development as a primary offensive player was being prioritized in new ways. In the moment, there was understandable excitement. But hindsight, particularly after a first-round playoff exit, also tells a story of why these first few months of Luka on the Lakers were both growing pains and the start of what many are hoping will be a long and even more fruitful partnership that will bring the banners Doncic was hoping to hang in Dallas to Los Angeles instead. How did he play? One way you know you have a superstar on your team is when, even when that player isn't as productive as you'd hope or isn't very efficient or has too many turnovers or misses what are totally makeable shots, they still find a way to impact the game at a high level, make 1 or 2 mind-blowing plays, or both. And, in a nutshell, that was Luka Doncic for the Lakers. Don't get me wrong, Luka had some amazingly productive, highly efficient games where he not only looked like the best player on the floor, but one of the best in the world, too. His 31-point, 8-rebound, and 7-assist night in a win at Denver was a masterclass in playing against the at-the-level and drop coverages the Nuggets deploy. And then at OKC, his 30-point, 7-rebound, and 6-assist game was all-encompassing, controlling the action against the Thunder's defense by using his size and strength against their guards and creating space against their bigs to get off his jumper from deep and work the mid-range. And then, of course, there was his return to Dallas where, while being serenaded by his former home crowd, Luka went crazy to the tune of 45 points to go along with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. He absolutely torched his former team, bombing threes against every type of defensive coverage while also getting to and scoring at the rim consistently. It was the exact type of game you'd come to expect from Doncic when he has an axe to grind and a point to prove. In the playoffs, Luka offered a baseline of production that proved how good he could be, But an illness in Game 3 sunk his chances at an efficient night, while a combination of nagging bumps and bruises, big minutes, and a slew of athletic and long defenders challenged his game and his ability to hold up physically as the series progressed. The result was Luka showing an ability to rack up numbers and impact the game, but not to the degree needed to turn the series in the Lakers' favor. Combine this with struggles from Austin and a LeBron series that was also good, but not series-altering, and the team went home in 5 games versus a team that ultimately made the conference finals. What is his contract situation moving forward? Doncic is under contract for 2 more seasons at the max, but has a player option next summer that would make him an unrestricted free agent should he decide to opt out. Luka is extension eligible beginning this August 2nd, however. And with his ability to become a free agent a year from now, the Lakers will surely initiate conversations with him on committing future seasons to the team by offering him whatever kind of contract he wants in order to consummate that long-term partnership. And, ultimately, that is the larger point here. Whatever contract Luka wants from the Lakers, he will get. If that's a full 4-year extension, great. If it's a 3-year deal with a player option that could get him to unrestricted free agency with 10 years of service in order to sign a huge deal with a starting salary that could be in the $70 million range, the Lakers will happily agree. Remember, the Lakers are in the business of acquiring, and then keeping, transcendent superstar players. In sending out Anthony Davis, they got Doncic in-house. Now, it's no doubt they will do everything in their power to hold on to him for as long as possible. Should he be back? Absolutely, unequivocally yes. Doncic was not consistently the player he'd previously been in Dallas after his trade to the Lakers, but in a lot of ways, it was probably unfair to expect him to be. Coming off an injury and having his life uprooted in ways that blindsided him is a combination even the most masterful compartmentalizers would have issues navigating. But even under those conditions, he flashed the brilliance that has him universally regarded as one of the very best players on the planet. And when you account for the fact that he's still just 26 years old, the prospect that his best is yet to come is very much a strong possibility. The Lakers, then, will simply sit back and hope to be the beneficiary of another all-timer falling into their laps and reap the rewards that come with it.